Okay, so I chose for my interdisciplinary unit. I chose Our 50 States by Lynn Cheney. And this book, it doesn't really have a story. It's kind of just, leave this open. Each page is a different state, and it's about a family who goes to each of these states and learn the different things. So there's a little bit of story involved in it. The kids write letters and text their grandparents and give them updates, but most of it's just like an informational type of text, so you can learn the different things about the different states. And I remember reading this as a kid a lot. My mom always had it out, and we went to go to different places or travel and stuff. We always would look at the state that we were going to, and kind of discuss it, and it's a really fun book. And yeah, so instead of doing my unit about the entire book, I'm doing it on just the state of Massachusetts. So this is Massachusetts. There's a lot of information about it, so that's kind of why I chose it, because I would have a lot of different options. And it's a very historical state, I feel like, because there's Plymouth Rock, there's the Pilgrims, and a lot of first things happened in Massachusetts. So I wanted to do that. And so this unit, it would have to be adapted if you were to do it on a different state. Like if you didn't, okay, so the unit's based off of assuming that you already live in Massachusetts or nearby. So there's a couple activities that require you to go to Plymouth Rock and stuff. So those would have to be adapted and do something different for that. But this is based off of assuming that you live in Massachusetts, so students are learning about the state of Massachusetts. So my first favorite activity is under the science section, and the first liquid-fueled rocket was made and launched in Massachusetts. And so for this activity, the kids would create their own rockets. And instead of just giving them a thing of Altoids and a bottle of Coke or whatever, and just like, okay, make your rocket, I would give them like a random assortment of resources and materials, and they would have to figure out what things would make the rocket react to make an actual rocket. So they would have to do some experimenting and kind of testing to see which of the resources make an actual rocket. So that's my first favorite one. The second one is the Dr. Seuss National Memorial is in Massachusetts, which I think would be really fun for language arts, to do like an author study on Dr. Seuss. So you'd read some Dr. Seuss books and kind of discuss like his method of writing and how like he does rhyming and poetry, but he also uses nonsensical words and stuff that don't like necessarily, they aren't real words, but they still like work with the text. So the students would kind of learn about Dr. Seuss and his life and how he writes, and then they would create their own Dr. Seuss story and illustrate it and have this whole thing. And so I thought that would be cool. I don't remember exactly when Dr. Seuss's birthday is, but I feel like it's during the school year. So I think it'd be cool to integrate that at that point, and then they could visit the Dr. Seuss National Memorial, and it could be like a whole connection thing, which I think would be really cool. My third favorite one is the first public high school was created or founded in Massachusetts. And so even though this would be an elementary kind of thing, the kids would be like second or third grade, so they wouldn't be in high school, I would start off with doing a KWL chart based off of what they know about school back in the, I'm trying to see, 1820s is when the first public high school was founded. So they could talk about life in school, like what school is like today, and then what they think it was like back then. And then as we go through the unit, we learn more and more about schools and what school life was like back in the 1800s, and then kind of do a little KWL chart and poster that kind of compares and contrasts how life is different, and like it can kind of help, I think, some students may not like school, and so it would be kind of nice for them to have a perspective and see like, well, like school was like a blessing back then. And so kind of for students to realize that it's an opportunity to go to school, and we have a lot more resources nowadays than we did in the 1800s. So I think that would also be a good unit to do. So that's my interdisciplinary unit.